Medic!
Welcome back, boys and girls, to the Medic Up podcast presented by Responder Solutions Group. I'm your host, Chris Ruggiero, and this week continues the third installment where I'm going to sit down with some of my former paramedic students who are now practicing paramedics and get their thoughts on making the transition from student paramedic to pre-hospital clinician. OB stopped by this week to hang out for about an hour. He's a 2015 graduate. He just recently got his National Registry paramedic certification, though. And this guy is the picture of persistence. He didn't give up. He put in the work. He earned that disco patch, and he statistically beat the odds of someone who had a long period of time since the end of school and then taking their exam. I couldn't be more proud of this dude. I can't wait for you guys to listen to some of his thoughts. On top of that, thank you guys, everyone who's listened, downloaded, liked, shared, reviewed, or sent me a text or a PM. The podcast has taken off way faster than I could have imagined. Go ahead, subscribe right now on iTunes or Google Play Music. You just can search Medic Up on your favorite podcast app and give it a listen. We've got about 1, maybe 2 weeks left of hearing from the former paramedic students, and then we're going to start switching some gears, and we're going to hit some fun topics with a lot of really cool people in EMS. So stick around. Thank you for listening, and let's get to it.
All right, so let's get into it. So give us a little bit of background demographics on you. If you're in the witness protection program, you don't have to use your name or.
No, you good. My name is O.B. Harris. Been doing EMS since around 2008. Started out as basic, transitioned to intermediate. Started off in a company in Anderson, and got experience as an EMT before I actually went straight through school,
right? Through
paramedic school. Just wanted to get that experience as an EMT before I went full blown paramedic. And here I am.
What year did you graduate paramedic school?
2015.
And you worked the whole time through that, from the beginning of EMT all the way through paramedic to your first ALS job.
Correct.
Right. Okay. So what brought you to EMS? Like, how did you pick EMS?
Well, everybody has that same common, I love to help people type deal. I did like to help people, but now I hate helping people, pretty much. Sometimes I just kind of hate society. You just don't want to deal with the people that's out there, the same old stuff, the homeless, the this, the that.
That you see people on their worst day, right?
Oh, correct. Most definitely.
You see people on their worst day. But is that really, you were sitting at home or you were sitting in school and you say, you know what? I want to do something where I help people. And EMS was it. We hear that a lot. We also hear I was in a horrible car accident and the paramedic saved me. I wanted to give back, or I had some type of life-changing event and I felt like I could help others and I'd help myself. So I joined up.
Right. It was just basically that feeling of being able to go to work and have a rewarding job, or you go to work and you feel like you actually done something for the day.
Part of something bigger.
Right. Correct.
That's another common thread. And again, it sounds cliched. It sounds corny, especially when people start to know you outside of EMS, and they're like, man, again, I mean, when you do word association and you say my name, people say abrasive, right? But again, at 2:00 in the morning, and some 78-year-old granny is filled up to her clavicles. I wish she was my grandmother. I'm going to bend over backwards to help her.
That's right.
And I'm going to put 110% into it. So, because I enjoy helping people. I enjoy using the skills, and that's it. And you didn't have any prior EMS training, public safety. You weren't a firefighter or anything.
No.
You're just some guy off the street.
That's right.
What made you sign up? What were you doing before EMT school? I remember you from EMT school.
Dude, I was a cook.
Cook, food service.
Yes.
And EMS is full of food service employees, right. Whether they're cooks, chefs, wait staff. It's crazy how close those jobs actually are.
Right. Yeah, I was a cook. I ran the grill at this restaurant in Anderson. They actually sponsor a lot of like sporting events. on the water at the lake at this job that I worked at.
Mm-hmm.
And like there would be a bunch of standbys and stuff. EMS, fireman, they just look freaking cool.
That's
They're
it.
freaking
I knew
awesome,
I
man.
knew I would get it out of you. I would get it out
They
of you.
were
It's the
just
shiny things, diamond plate, the sirens, the lights.
Oh,
I heard,
man.
I knew
Yeah,
it.
man. They look sharp. They wrists were sharp. You know, they with the glasses on, man.
At the uniform, you command respect.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
I got it.
Yeah,
I got it. I got that. Right. I always say nobody is 7 years old seeing the ambulance go by and go, that's what I want to do. I saw the fire truck go by and saw dudes still riding the tailboard and was like, that's pretty cool. Then when I got older, I realized the building was on fire. I'm not going in there.
Right.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, that's cool. That's good stuff. So no background. You wanted to emulate that. You signed up. You went to EMT school. You got some experience. You went through paramedic school. How well do you think paramedic school prepared you to work as a medic?
Paramedic school, man, it was detrimental. I mean, it was tough work, but I knew what I wanted to be. I knew what I wanted to become. I knew how I wanted to help people. I knew the service I wanted to actually work for. Because, I mean, at that time frame, they were the best medics there are. And I still think they are still the best medics. But paramedic school in general, man, it's just, I mean, it's nonstop. I mean, you have to put your time in. You have to study. You have to stay on top of your studies, your schoolwork. You have to put the time in. I mean, you have to, I mean, even if you have to work, you don't sleep. I mean, if you have family, if you have other jobs, I mean, you have to make sacrifices to be able to get through paramedic school. And I know that paramedic school, especially my instructor, for sure prepared me to be able to go out in the streets and be able to take care of the public. So
I know that guy. He does all right.
That's right.
So what would be something? So we did a good job getting you ready to work in the field, and that's awesome. Where did we fall short? What did in the curriculum cover that you experienced? You're like, man, no, they never told us about that, or man, I must have been absent that day because I don't remember them ever saying how to deal with this.
The thing about that, I don't think instructors can basically tell you how to run every call. Like, I honestly think that from your knowledge that you have gained from school, that you have to be able to put it all together and make the best of what you have. Because, I mean, no textbook, no instructor can tell you how to run every call. But as far as the instructors maybe not doing something or failing at something or not doing something that I wish they would have done, I really can't say at this point in time. I mean, there's probably a couple things I've maybe forgotten that I need to brush up on myself just because I'm not, actively doing it every day. I'm not doing that same call every day or what have you. But as far as instructors, man, I really don't have anything to say against that.
Well, I mean, how about in general, maybe something the curriculum itself is lacking? You're like, man, we didn't even touch on that, or or something you experienced in your first
maybe
couple
something
of years.
that could have been better with maybe like some of like sim labs with was it Ready Man or was
Mediman.
Mediman. He was a pretty cool guy. I think he was pretty realistic, and it say broke half the time.
Mediman is a high maintenance girlfriend. Is what Mediman is. You got to stay on top of Mediman, or Mediman will let you down.
That's right. You make the best of it though. So,
and I that's cool. I appreciate you being upfront about it. What would you say to a medic student on their first day of their first semester paramedic class? So they've graduated EMT. Here it's EMS 150. You're going to learn IVs, intubation, advanced assessment. You're going to get your first taste of clinical time in the ED, starting IVs, drawing bloods, and doing assessments. What do you say to them before they walk in the door that day?
Man, let it go. Let it go, man.
What do you mean?
All the distractions that you have outside of school, your family, Honestly, for me, it took a lot of time from my family, from stuff that I do it for, even like for church and things like that. It took a lot of, it just took a lot of me, to do medical school, and that's, you cannot have that many distractions in medical school. You can't
get prepared to devote your time.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to devote that time.
Now, so to kind of expand on that, when you went through paramedic school, you were already married, right?
Correct.
Right. So,
yes.
And no baby yet.
No baby.
Baby after medical school.
Right.
All right. So, and I saw a big difference, or I still see a big difference with people who or students who are married or have family commitments versus the ones who don't. When I went through paramedic school, I didn't have any commitments. I had to make sure I paid my rent, I paid my cell phone bill, and I had gas in my car and food in the refrigerator. And even food in the refrigerator was an iffy thing. I could eat free at school sometimes.
Right.
But at the same time, I alienated myself and my roommates. I lived with 4 other dudes. And I traveled 65 miles one way for paramedic school. Oh, wow. I lived in one place. I traveled 65 miles one way. I worked pretty much full-time hours at a part-time job.
Right.
To put gas in my car, to pay the rent, and to eat food.
Right.
And they were in school. They were in school for their normal 4-year degrees. And I remember in my first year, they would, be like, "Hey, we're going out. Let's go downtown. Let's go drinking." Or, "Hey, it's so-and-so's 21st birthday." I was a little older already. I was 23 years old. Right. So I kind of gotten a lot of that out of my system. It wasn't a big deal to be like, "Oh, let's go to the bar."
Right.
It was just extra money I didn't have. And then, as school ramped up, I would have to be like, I got clinicals, or, I have a ride time, or I got to go to work. And then by their 4th year of school and my 2nd year of school, finishing up paramedic school, they just would stop asking because they knew what the answer was. And I always think of those old college shirts that you would say, "I can't, I have crew," or "I can't, I have lacrosse."
Right.
And mine was, "I can't, I have medic school."
Right. Right.
And I completely alienated myself from them, and those were good friends, and I felt horrible about it. Or if I'd be like, "Yeah, I can go out with you guys, we'll celebrate so-and-so's 21st, but I'm only going to be there for like an hour and a half because I got to go home, I got to sleep 20 minutes, I got to get up, shower, I got to get in the car, I got to be in the car talking to myself, giving good ALS radio reports for the next hour before I go to a ride time."
Right.
And by the end of it, it was a lot of sacrifice.
Right.
And then, I see students who they're married with kids, and they're going through the same thing. And it's hard. Again, it's typical EMS. It's really hard to be, you have students on your truck now. It's hard to be sympathetic to them, right? You're like, "Look, I did it with a wife. Yep. All right. I didn't see my wife for a year and a half.
That's right.
All right. Listen, if I did it, you can do it.
That's right.
So maybe it builds character. Right. It teaches that time management. It teaches some sacrifice. And I totally get it, man.
Yeah.
I totally get it.
No crying over here today, brother.
Right. We've heard it all before. So you got to let it go. I mean, again, as much as I joke, I always do the thing, and it came from pretty much my paramedic school. What do we do on the first day of medic class? I ask you, "What do you like to do in your free time?" And everyone tells me, and I say, "Why don't you write that on a card? I'll put that in my desk drawer, and we'll call that your free time, and I will give that back to you at graduation."
That's right.
And then 2 days after graduation, you're bored, off your ass. Right. You're like, "Man, I wish I was in pharmacology class writing me some drug profiles."
Right. What do I do now?
Man, I wonder if I get 2 whole days off before work again. Right. Awesome. So
I'm struggling with that now still.
So that's their first day. What do you say to them while they're walking down the aisle at graduation or the pinning ceremony, or right before they leave the sidewalk in deployment for their first shift? What do you say to your brand new medic on their first day of their ALS job?
The light was definitely at the end of the tunnel for sure. You should be scared.
Terrifying.
You should be scared. If you're not, there's something wrong, honestly.
You can be confident, but you're probably you can be terrified.
Right, that's right. I'm like they say, I'm the duck across water, just sailing across the water, but underneath, I'm paddling like a motherfucker. So
Awesome.
So
I think everybody is.
Yeah, I mean, the job is rewarding. Once you get in, like most places should be able to put you with an FTO. They shouldn't just put you out there sink or swim, which I have known some services to do that.
It's actually very popular where I came from up north. It was
right.
You pee in the cup Monday, they give you the narc keys on Tuesday and tell you, do your best, here's your partner. Yeah, he's an EMT and he just started too. So
wow.
Go.
Yeah.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
I doubt it's like that now.
Yeah. I would have been even more terrified if that was me.
I bet.
But I had a great experience with that and with my FTO for a month, and I figured I felt like I got to handle a lot of different things in a lot of different situations that I had questions about. That if I was basically out there on myself, I would have had a harder time figuring that out versus having him right there beside me to be able to ask questions.
Right, and that's how it should be, and a service like that really should have a program like that in place. And I know I was thankful for it 15 years ago when I walked out of school and walked into the same service we're talking about. Except again, my FTO experience wasn't as good as it could have been.
Right.
And I was very lucky. Again, I always say that I'm an exception to the rule. I had really good mentors coming through EMS. I knew I was exposed to a lot of ALS practice prior to becoming an EMT through the Explorer posts, and and again, I value that because I think it helped me in the long run.
Right.
But in the other hand of that is it set me back because it took me longer to realize how to become my own paramedic, because I had maybe, again, not the best FTO, which I did fine. I didn't get bounced out of the service or anything like that, but it was somebody who was less than supportive, or if I had questions, it was typical, well, I'll go look it up. I don't really know. That's not important. Like, it was important to me.
Right.
But, that was the dynamic, unfortunately. So what was your best memory of school? Any situation or something that you can think of?
Best memory of school. Well, our class was that class.
What's that? What is that class? What class was that?
Oh man, goodness, man. We had a bunch of damn fucking crybabies for in there for one thing.
They're going to be listening to this, I think.
Oh, go great. Well, good, because I can tell them now. I just thought a lot of them was just immature, man. They just not really talk about them like that. But
you had a lot of different attitudes in that class.
It was just a bunch of attitudes, bunch of different personalities. I mean, we started off, I guess it was 35 something students.
You had a lot of people.
We had a lot of people, and summer semester and stuff was rough, trying to correlate 30 people and things like that. But one of my most memorable moments was you were actually videoing us. Actually, you had your GoPro cam right out front.
Running the call.
Yeah.
That's funny because when I was thinking about the question, I was like, man, this is the class where I got OB as the rock star.
Yeah, man.
Running that call, dude. And I still have a video.
Yeah, intubation. And actually, you used that as at pinning as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
It was a good video.
I didn't really forget about it, but I wasn't really expecting it at the pinning ceremony, and when I seen it, I was like, "Oh, that's so dope, man! That's pretty cool."
That's what I've been working toward, right? This is what I've worked for.
Yeah.
This is what I'm working for. This is what I worked toward, and look at me go.
Right, it was awesome.
It's awesome. All right, we know that class. A lot of attitudes. Not a very cohesive class.
Right.
And you're gonna have that. And I made peace with it. It made it difficult for me. It made it difficult for the students. What was your worst memory?
Worst memory, probably. We were down at, what was that building? We're down on the bottom of the hill. We used to go and do simulations.
No, the Stat Center.
Stat Center. That class again, man. Like, I think we actually got kicked out of the Stat Center because of people being childish. I'm going to go first. No, I'm first.
That was the argument.
I'm second, and I'm third. Like, everybody just sit the fuck down. They'll tell us what we're going to do. Yeah, it was pretty bad. I remember Chris being pretty upset.
And I wasn't there for it, which made it that much worse that I had to hear about it later. And again, what did I tell you guys? When you're in uniform, when you're somewhere else, you're a guest, you represent yourselves, you represent the department, you represent me. Right. I don't like to look bad. And again, it was a decent lesson in professionalism.
Yeah,
And, there's consequences.
Yeah, it's childish and foolishness, but it's all in the same breath, man. Those same guys that were actually acting that way, like, I would almost run any call with them. They were actually good medics. And
in the end, absolutely, I would agree with that 100%.
Yes, sir.
And it just goes to show you how much growing up happens in that 19 to 20 months.
Yep.
So
that's definitely for sure.
Right. And it's nothing, you're right. It's nothing I wouldn't say to their faces today with no problem.
Right. Yep.
With no problem. That's good. So we kind of I kind of hit a little bit earlier. I'm very fortunate. I'm like an exception to the rule. I had really good mentors. How important do you think it is to have mentors, whether it's in paramedic school or your first job out of medic school? And it doesn't necessarily have to be your training officer. Right. Like they might be your training officer, but you might have a mentor, and they might not even be in EMS. Like, how important do you think it is?
I think it's very important. I mean, you're going to have times while in school that you're going to feel down. You're going to feel that, hey, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Hey, maybe that, I'm not the one that can be able to go out here and save lives every day.
There's a lot of self-doubt.
Yeah, it's a lot of self-doubt. You maybe get that test grade back to where, oh, man, I failed this portion in cardiology. Like, what the hell? Maybe, am I going to be able to do this? Maybe I really suck at, 5th to 6th grade math. I didn't even know that, I didn't even know that I sucked this bad. But, I just think that just being able to have somebody to talk to, that person that when you do get down, that can lift you back up, be like, hey brother, I really don't understand this. Can you please help me? It's like, look, don't even worry about it. This is the way I do it. If you have to dumb it down, dumb it down. Just having that extra support, man, just able to get through this process with school and stuff, because you're gonna have your moments for sure.
You get those where you get knocked down, get humbled.
Oh yeah.
And it's not, we see it every cohort. And as an instructor, I see it coming. And I know when you're going to make a mistake before you make it. Right, and unfortunately, you need to learn from it. So I will make that mistake happen.
That's right.
And it's not because I dislike you as a student. It's because you're going to build right back up from that. And, it's better to make that mistake in a nice safe space, in the classroom, in simulation. So when you hit the field and you're taking care of my mom and dad, you're not making that mistake.
That's right.
Sure. And you know what? You might make other mistakes because I can't get you ready for them all, but I can get you to spot them, anticipate them, hopefully mitigate them. It's typical crew resource management.
That's right.
So did you have a mentor? Or do you still have a mentor?
Yeah, it's you.
It's me? That's very flattering.
I felt like I got my story behind that. I hit rock bottom. I had times where, I could not pass the...
we're going to talk about that. It's coming up.
Yeah. So, are we going to do that now? Or,
no, you go ahead and finish your thoughts.
It's just, man, I had the times where I just struggled with the test, with the National Registry written exam, past practicals, whatever. I'll just keep it short for now. But, I passed practicals with no problem, but the written was just a bitch. It's just no other word for it, man. And I hit rock bottom. And the only person that was there for me was Chris, my instructor. He's the man. He lifted me up. He said, man, you can do it. Question after question after question, apps after apps after apps. He basically told me, he said, dude, you can write your own fucking app at this point.
You could write your own. By the time we were done, you could have wrote your own registry exam and probably had a higher cut score than the registry exam. Well, it's good, man. I'm glad that makes me feel good that I'm a mentor for somebody.
Right.
But no, absolutely. I mean, you guys know it's hard. It's hard to step away. It's hard to step away clinically. It's very difficult to. And again, I wasn't away all the time. I just wasn't in the field as much as I'd like to, being on the instructor side of it. And then when I left the instructor side in this past year to go do the training coordinator stuff, that was even worse because it was even a bigger step back clinically. I wasn't teaching in initial education. I was teaching continuing education. Right. But at the same time, when somebody had a question, I'd be like, oh my God, come in, sit down, tell me about the call.
Right.
You know, I'm kind of living vicariously through the field providers and being able to do some teaching and having that interaction. And again, every time somebody left the room, I'm like, man, I wish I was on that call.
Right.
I couldn't buy a call like that. I got, I'm glad somebody would come to me. And again, it was positive and negative. People would come to me and say, hey, I think I screwed this up. What do you think? I had this situation and this is how I handled it. Do you think I did a good job? And it's like, well, let me go read your chart. I don't want to read your chart. Tell me about the call. You tell me about it and we'll talk and we'll both get something out of it.
And I feel like still, man, I can, even if I screwed up, I can still come to you and be like, Chris, I screwed up, brother. And I know I screwed up. But I feel like with you that you're very understanding. You have that way of going or seeing the way or the path that I took to take care of a patient. If I'm wrong, you're telling me that I'm wrong. I mean, you have no problem with doing that. But all in the same breath, I feel like you can understand the way that I took a path, or maybe something that that we was taught in school, reason why I took that path, or I think I can come to you and be like, hey man, this didn't work out. I took this path just because X, Y, Z, and it didn't work. And I mean, at the end of the day, man, I believe that you're that guy. I mean, I truly honestly believe that you're that guy. So
wow,
so
that's cool, man. I really appreciate that. I don't know. Sometimes I don't think I am, but that's cool that other people do think that.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's because I enjoy it. I enjoy the work. I do. I enjoy the work. It's fun. So I had a conversation with another one of your classmates, and it was very hard. It must have been extremely hard for that person to walk into my office and recount a call. But when they walked out, they ultimately said, you know what? The next time I encounter this, I will not make this mistake, and it will be on the tip of my tongue, and I'm going to nail it.
That's right.
And it wasn't anything wrong. It was just something that maybe they overlooked it, and not tunnel vision, but it was like when they reflected on it and they self-reflected, they're like, oh, if I'd have done this, I think it would have worked out for the better. And I was like, you're absolutely right. And I think that's probably all they needed to hear, which was good.
That's right.
So, okay. I like to call it having the EMS epiphany, or explaining to the students of when it starts to click, when it all comes together. Some people it clicks maybe a month or so before graduation. Some people it clicks while they're walking down the aisle. Other people a month, 6 months, a year after they graduate. Have you had that?
Yeah, definitely, man.
It all fell together.
Yeah, that fall semester right off the foreman card was my hardest semester, man. Like I was the pathophys was trying to put everything together.
It becomes a dirty word because I say it every day.
Yeah, that was the semester it didn't click. That was my semester. Foreman card didn't click.
You're drinking from the fire hose.
Foreman card didn't click. Pathophys didn't click. And then my final semester, I was just like, all right, here we are. What the crap? What is this? Like, when is it gonna finally click? It was definitely towards the end. I would say the capstone semester, when I was actually having to use my own, like, just everything in general that I've learned through school. Capstone semester was just. You were it.
You were the team lead.
Right.
You were being evaluated as the team leader. You were making decisions. You were running the call. You were delegating, and you had to put that patho together.
Right. And I would say that would have been a semester that it actually clicked for me. Being able to, like you say, have those team leads, to be able to run these calls, to have my preceptor tell me that, hey, this is it. We're going on a cardiac arrest. We're going on a pediatric arrest. You team lead. Have at it. Let's go. So at that point in time, I mean, you already have your mindset. You already been given most of your tools at this point in time to go and run these calls.
You just got to figure out where to apply it. Right. So was it a specific call, or was it a point in time like where you're sitting in class going, "Oh my God, I got this"?
Right. Well, yeah. Specifically, a certain call, pediatric arrest, kid, I think maybe Down syndrome. I can't quite remember exactly the whole call, but I mean, me, my preceptor, and I, we ran that call. I mean, I had just had PALS. I just had ACLS PALS, all the cards we had to have for that semester. So it was just fresh in my mind. I didn't need anybody telling me like, oh, okay, it's 0.01 milligram per kg or 0.1 ml per. I mean, it was already done. I think we actually had notes came in, calculated kilograms and all that stuff. We already knew the drug doses before we even actually got on the call. And it was just like an oil machine, man. It was just, we got in there, we got the guy, we confirmed the rest, we pushing the meds, we scooped them up, we was going to the hospital. I mean, it's, it sucked for the kid itself, but as paramedics and being confident and being a competent paramedic, I felt like that was the time that, it actually clicked for me specifically.
And it just flowed.
Oh yeah,
it was zen-like, and things worked out. Your hands moved a little faster than your brain.
Right, I bowed my chest out a little bit after that.
So you felt a little taller.
I felt good after that call.
That's good. But you clean up after the call. You tuck your cape back in, and you go to the next call.
And then you go back to school. You get put back down.
You go to school and you forget to take a blood pressure before you did the cardio version. Right. You probably could have just used some Adenocard and you're humbled. I get it. Right. That's awesome. My next question really is it's very straightforward. It's to tell me about your first year as ALS. I call it the survival year, and the survival year is pretty much you're just trying to make it through. Year number 2, you kind of become your own paramedic, but your survival year has been pretty short. Even though you graduated in 15, you struggled with the written.
Right.
And I hope you're not embarrassed talking about it.
No, absolutely not.
But you're one of the most persistent people I've ever met with that written test. And I know you overcame a lot to pass that. I felt like I repassed it when you passed it, because I say it to every cohort, and I try and say frequently. I always tell you I measure my success on your success. Right. If you guys are successful, I feel like I was successful. Right. And I'm always refining stuff too. But you struggle with the written. I think I gave you every tool I possibly had.
Yeah. We exhausted everything.
I gave you everything.
Everything, man.
I looked at how you took tests. I looked at the time. I looked at everything I knew about item writing and the psychometrics and all that stuff. And you finally passed it.
Right.
You finally passed it. And you finally passed it. I think did you have to do a refresher?
Yeah, I took the refresher.
So you went 3 times, refresher, and you went back and you killed it.
Right, killed it, man.
And you went back and you killed it. Statistically, it's difficult to do. And I remember the phone call. I remember when you called me like, yo, I passed my written test. And I was like, I remember I can't remember where I was. I think I might have been in the office. And I was like, I know I was excited, but you were like, look, my practical's timed out and I got to redo them. And I was like, I have bad news for you, because you had been in that transition spot between the good old 12-step registry.
Right.
And now you were going to have to take the 6-step registry with the simulated out-of-hospital patient care scenario. And you never practiced for that. Right. Sort of. Right. We didn't put as much emphasis on it. And I was like, oh my God, here we go again. I think it worked out. I think it worked out for the better. We put you through a little boot camp and what you could expect, and you took your test. I remember that personally. I remember that. I was laying in bed. I was watching TV. just kicked back on a Saturday, waiting for the phone call, and then I forgot about it. I think maybe I took a nap because I'm an old man,
Right.
and old in EMS here. And the phone woke me up, and you're like, dude, I passed it. And I was like, yeah, I was going nuts. My kids were freaking out. They were like, why are you screaming?
Right.
What are you screaming for? And I was like, yeah, we passed it.
I told you, I called you. I was like, hey, Chris. And I was like, how about it? And he was like, no, you tell me how about it. Like that. And I was like, man, I fucking passed. And it was just like the greatest feeling ever.
I bet, dude.
I mean, it was like 3 tons lifted off my chest, man.
It was good. It felt good. It felt good to give you the old school. I gave you an old school medic registry patch. It felt good to pass that down.
That's right.
So that was good. So what when you said a little bit earlier what was kind of going through your head while you were struggling with that? What was going on? And you had a lot going on. You graduated paramedic school.
Yep.
You failed your written. Had a baby on the way.
My wife told me just out of the blue and started stressing about that. But all in the same,
no pressure.
Yeah, all in the same breath though, I just don't feel like it was the baby had nothing to really do with it. Like
no.
I was like, I mean, okay, yes, she's pregnant, but here I am. They spent all this time, and I should have already passed this paramedic test.
Put that in perspective. You started in EMS with EMT school in 2008.
Right, true.
You graduated in 15. You got your medic in
2017.
So what do they call people? You're a doctor. You're like a doctor of paramedicine.
Right.
But you're a paramedic.
I'm a paramedic. At the end of the day.
You beat it. You overcame it. I'm extremely proud of it. So your survival year. And it has so far been a survival few months.
Right.
What do you think?
Man, I love it. I absolutely love it. You have your days where you just so sick and tired of the public. Like you absolutely want nothing to do with the public for the day. But some days, man, you have your game face on and you just like, you play whatever music you like in your car, truck, vehicle right before work. And you just
amped up,
you
ready.
Just end up like, bring it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Today's the day.
Yeah, today's the day. Bring it. What you got, Granville? Come on, Granville. And you have your days where you just so pumped and you just so ready to go out and make a difference. And man, these last few months has been just eye-opening experience.
Because you're it, man. You're the guy. You're the guy on the truck. You're holding the narcotics key. You're making decisions.
Dude, these protocols and stuff, too, it's just, like, insane, man. Like, some of the stuff. And, like, I had a real bad COPD, and he told me several times that he had to be tubed 3 or 4 times. And, he wasn't feeling good. Dual nail treatment wasn't doing any good for him. Get him on a stretcher. Get him in a truck. He's like, I'm not feeling good. I'm going to die. I'm like, no, sir. No, you're not. You're not going to die today. And basically taking him from his low to his most high, man, was just phenomenal. I mean, we've given him dual nail treatment. We've CPAP and dual nail treatment in him. We got fluids going. We got salmeterol going. We got sulfate. I mean, we got all the stuff that we pushing on this guy.
You paramedic the shit out of that.
Oh man, that was just an awesome feeling, man. That actually be back there, seeing this guy actually turn around from going from, just O2 sats in the dumps. I mean, and him thanking me when we get to the hospital. I mean, that's like the ultimate. Like he's like, man, I want to tell you, you saved another life today. He's like, I literally thought I was gonna die, and even taking that patient in to the hospital and the nurses freaking out, not having any idea what in the world's going on. They're afraid of a CPAP machine with a little bit of doing that, with bags hanging and stuff like that. And,
where were they 20 minutes ago?
Yeah,
right?
I was like, he's stable now. I done fixed him.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah,
he just needs a sandwich and a cup of Jello and get him out of here.
Yeah, just go get your vent machine. Yeah. We got this, and that's just so rewarding. At the end of the day, so
it's awesome. That's fantastic. And then you tucked your cape back in and you went on the next day. So, what? I keep debating whether to throw this question out because I know what it kind of goes down the road to. but I'll ask it either way. Would you say that EMS has changed you? And I'll leave it that vague. And I think a lot of people pick up negative connotation from that. Like, is he really asking, do I have PTSD already? And that's not what I'm getting at.
Right. I think EMS changed me before medic school in a way. You build a tolerance for people. You build a tolerance for the worst that can happen. Like I say, you never prepare for every call, but EMS in general, yes, I mean, in a way it has changed me, but the main thing that I try to do is keep EMS separate from home life. I try not to let it interfere with, the stuff that I've ran or stuff that I've seen come and interfere with my life or with my home, because I think that's where it can get some kind of fluctuation between bringing EMS home and letting it, kind of interfere with your home and family. I think that can take a toll on you tremendously. I try to leave work at work. The stuff that I've seen that I don't really want my wife knowing about it or my son knowing about it, I just try to keep at work.
And again, not to pry in your personal life or throw a ton of it out there, but your wife works in healthcare. My wife works in healthcare.
Right.
My wife worked in EMS and then went to other healthcare in the hospital.
Right, absolutely.
So I mean, now, and your wife, she does CBSU nurse, right?
Yeah, well, she did. Now she's home health. So
she knows our people.
Right, she knows our people. So it's just to the point where, not that she's seen it all, done it all, but I guess the fact that we both are in healthcare, so nothing, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say nothing really excites her, but it's like telling the same story over and over, and it's like, oh, okay, he had another patient, or she's telling me, oh, okay, she had another patient today.
Well, my patient was cooler than your patient.
Right, yeah, it's just like circling your tail, like and I don't know, man, EMS is just one of them things that you have to be able to go to work and you have to have your free time as well, because if you don't, man, this job will kill you. It will weigh you down. It will get the best of you. I mean, you got to have that free time. You got to go out, have a good time with friends, do something that you like and that you enjoy.
That's not EMS.
That's not
it's
EMS.
So hard, man.
Yeah.
We tell that to people all the time. It's really difficult. People are like, well, got some time off. I'll go work my other EMS job.
Yeah, man. Don't
I got to go do volunteer standby at the music festival, or I'm going to go. No. Yeah, I get it. I
understand if you got to do your part-time gigs and stuff, because I still do.
Right.
But when that weekend that I'm off from work, man.
Those 3 days, those are you. You schedule your life around those 3 days.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
I absolutely get that. And and I understand the opposite of that. Again, I've lost friends. I've lost friends and relationships because of EMS. And that's from people outside EMS who don't understand. While I was going through medic school, I was working, like I said, part-time job. You would make, even before that, when I was just working, I used to work at a transfer service. Your end time, I worked like, I think one shift I worked was like 6 a.m. until 2 p.m. and that was awesome. And I started working like 10 a.m. till 6 p.m. Well, you don't make plans at 6:30 ever. Right. You're making plans for 8:30, 9 o'clock that night, because there's no way you're getting off on time. You're always going to get that late call.
Right.
And then, that was always a problem. Then I did a 911 service as a part-timer when I was in school, and I never cared about being held over because I was held over on a 911 call. Now, my friends cared because I'd be like, shift's over at 6. I remember one night where I came rolling in about 8 o'clock, 2 hours afterwards. And I still came in. It was snowing. It was cold. We were on an extrication, a 40-minute extrication in the cold, to the point where I was using the backboard as like a shield, and it was getting ice on the backside of it. Oh, wow. I came home in my bunker pants, and like my idiot roommates were like, "Where you been?" I've been swimming. What do you think? Can't you tell by how tan I am?
Right.
Yeah, it's like, we were on a call, and it's like, hey, we were supposed to have dinner. We were doing this. We were going to go do that. I was like, you guys could have went without me. You guys know what this is.
Right.
And again, it's the same people who, again, stopped asking to hang out.
Right.
Yeah, because they knew what the answer was going to be.
That's right.
And it sucks. And then the opposite side of that is, again, my wife came from EMS 18 years. She knew what was out there. She ran the same calls.
Right.
And again, it's not, those same friends who I alienated from, like, dude, tell me about those cool calls.
Right.
And she's like, yeah, great. Another extra
No,
case.
right.
And then on top of that, she was our dispatcher. So she knew what the call was. She's like, yeah, I sent you. Yeah, triple stabbing. I remember.
Right.
Yeah. Let me guess. They were stabbed.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And I was awesome on the call, and I got to decompress. And she's like, yeah, great.
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
I remember sending it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've done that too.
Right.
Like, oh, well,
Right.
all right. Well, whatever. I'll go tell OB. He'll think it's cool. And I get it. And it's, separating that and having that off time is absolutely crucial. So what's next for OB? Where's EMS? What do you want out of EMS? Where's it going to take you? What's next?
Man, I know for a fact that I don't want to be pushing a stretcher at,
Please don't say 40.
No, 50. 50, I just think this job is for, the younger, I wouldn't say really generation, but I mean, it's, like I said, I just don't want to be that guy at 50. I've seen what EMS have done to people, at that age, man. It just wears and tears on the body. But as for me, I'm just buying my time. I'm still in that time frame right now to where
Still enjoying it.
I'm still enjoying it, man.
Still run the next call.
Yeah, I want to get that experience under my belt. Maybe I'll go somewhere where it's a little bit slower. But as of right now, man, I'm still thriving off these calls, being able to use some skills and stuff that I learned from school, being able to use these aggressive protocols and stuff that actually send a life difference, man. Because I mean, not everybody has the protocols that we have, and some of the protocols that we have that I work part-time, I mean, I feel like, if I had those same protocols, like, I could turn these people around.
Right.
I'm almost sometimes scared because I don't have those protocols at this other job.
You feel hobbled.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like I'm so restricted, and I know what to do, and I know what works because I've seen it. I'm still just thriving off that. At this moment, maybe 2 years later down the road, we'll probably be talking, I'm pretty sure, a lot different. But like I say, I definitely have my moment. I haven't even thought about going other places, but man, this right now, I'm certainly enjoying it. I just want to get this experience up on me, and see. I mean, EMS is changing. I mean, daily. I mean, I've seen it change since 2008. I've seen it. Where they got paramedics working in ERs and, helping out and trying to use the same protocols. Maybe they use it, they service, and, and I think that, they are very beneficial in the hospital. I think that they can yet help nurses. I think that, paramedics are at the same level, if not higher than nurses, my honest opinion, because we've been out there. We've done the work. I mean, we've had the training. I mean, we had training that these nurses hadn't even had. I mean, it's nurse. Well, I'm not going to even go right there, but
we'll mark that. We'll mark that down for another podcast.
Yeah, we'll leave that alone. But I think that through the training that we got through this program and stuff, that I believe that we can take what we've learned, man, and go out here and do the work, and even at higher levels, at nurse levels and beyond. I think that we definitely had the education in the background to go and do that. So.
And we at the school, we obviously push. One of our outcomes is for you guys to become recognize and become lifelong learners, and I personally believe that I teach you to learn, right, as well as teach you the hard skills to go out and do the job. So I mean, and that's good. You seek out advancement. You seek out the continuing ed, not just what you need to keep your license and your certs, and you move forward from there. I back up real quick, and then we'll end this.
Okay.
What went through your head while you were struggling with the written? What was what kept you moving toward going to pass that test?
Dude, I knew I had 2 more times. I knew that, you know, I mean, you got 6 times to take this test, including with the refresher course. I learned nothing in the refresher course. It was a complete waste of time. It didn't help me with anything. I mean, I think I would have been a lot better off just taking that refresher class, just using it for study questions. But I mean, it's to the point now, man. I just that written test, man, was just. I mean, I felt down. I felt like it came to the end. I felt like I put in all this time, effort, and work to go in and, you know, and do paramedic school, and then come down to an end to where I maybe wasn't going to be a paramedic. So right. I was already looking at different opportunities, different jobs. I already started looking at, you know, GHS. Maybe there's something there I can do. It really put a dampen on my spirit. I mean, it was just. I didn't know where I was going to end up, man. I had 2 more times to take this test. I just, you know, like I said, I had 2 more times to take this test, and I knew something had to happen. And I've done nothing new from since day one, since I had took it. I've done nothing new.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, like I said, I just basically felt like from the 4th time that I took, 4th or 5th time, whichever one it was that I took this test, I've learned nothing different from the first time that I took the test. Like, I just felt like it was just my time. Maybe the test just said, all right, you pass, you know.
I thought that too. I thought maybe registry was like, oh, this guy again, let's just get it over with, right?
He somewhat knows.
He's taking every question we have. Right. Just let him have it.
Just let him have it at this point in time. But
all right, man. Either way, failure was not an option.
Yes,
I thought that was awesome. I'm glad. I'm proud of you. I think it's another one of my favorite student success stories, man. I'm glad you're out there helping people. You make it look easy. You're a rock star. And you just keep doing what you do, man. And I appreciate you sitting down.
Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you.